Hi, I wanted to do a video on some insights that have been really important to me recently and things that I've really observed on my journey so far have made profound changes. So I mean that's what I really like to do in these videos. I don't profess that what I'm saying is the ultimate truth. It's my ultimate truth. It's things that I currently believe on my journey. And if you see my channel, you'll actually see I was only talking about this today that it's been quite difficult for me to be consistent with my channel because I'm so focused on, obtaining the ultimate truth and the ultimate way of living and the ultimate way of experiencing joy and heaven on earth, that it's meant that, I've dipped into things and I've really heavily believed in them. I've seen that they work. And then I've realized that, yeah, they work, but there's an ultimate truth beyond that. So I've had to abandon so many things along the way, as I know we all have. And yeah, it's kind of sometimes hard to have a consistent channel when you're not really hyper focused on sort of one particular thing like manifesting or presence or being, or and I really believe that awakening is this combination and mixture of so many different elements, and I've dipped into so many things and found them useful, and then some things I've realized, yeah, they were useful, but actually they were just part of my ego, or they were just holding me back, or they were just manifesting more ego, so even though I wouldn't say that I'm at the ultimate truth, I can say that I've definitely cleared through a lot since the start of the journey. So I share the things that I find as I go, and there probably will be some jumping around, and that's just me on my quest for finding the ultimate truth, right? So something that I really have seen over the years that is really important is accepting what is, accepting situations for what they are, and accepting people for who they are. And that doesn't mean we can't want to change situations or change people, but until we accept the now and the present moment for exactly as it is, it's like nothing can change. It's like it's that magic code to let more stuff in. It's like having no preference. I've been having so many shifts and experiencing so much joy by living from this space. And for a bit, I actually completely stopped manifesting because I moved into the space of being and having no preference. And I did experience magic, and I did experience bliss, and a lot of amazing things happen. But then there was times more recently when I feel the need to jump into manifesting a little bit. And I think one of the biggest things that manifesting actually does is it kind of helps you pinpoint any limiting beliefs or belief systems that are holding you back. So I think the being and the no preference is amazing. But then when a little kind of, when your life isn't reflecting to you exactly what you want, or you get that little bit of a trigger, that's when I really found it important to just go in, do the inner child work, do the inner child healing, do the mirror work, and even focusing on certain things and manifesting, because it allowed me to identify the beliefs and the blocks that I had. But then I think there comes this level of truly accepting and embracing what is that really brings the magic. I've had several examples of this in my life where I've done this and people have literally transformed in a 360. I do remember a situation where I was working at a place, and the person I was working for was really uncommunicative. Like nobody could ever get hold of him, and it used to really wind everybody up. And it's this thing, like when there's a charge and there's an annoyance, it's going to just continue happening in your experience. And as soon as it doesn't trigger you anymore, that is going to leave your reality. That person will change, or they'll just drift. And I remember I was reading this soul love book. I mean, this wasn't a romantic connection, but I was reading a soul love book for something else. And I think I decided to test on this person because it was an easy like transformation to see, because it was somebody that was in my life a lot. And I remember just like connecting to his soul and being like, do you know what? I completely accept you. Like, it's fine. I accept who you are. Like, you're a great person every other way. And it's just part of you that you're not very communicative and no one can get a hold of you. And I swear on my life, I think I might have told this story in another video. I got a text immediately. And from that moment, I just got text after text who text me all day sometimes. And I honestly, everybody else that worked there used to come to me, like even people above me in rank, and say, you know, can you pass this message on for me? Because I became like the go-to. And that came from just fully accepting and losing all control. Because the problem with manifesting is, like, it's really difficult to come from a place of not trying to control or not placing the happiness on a changed state. It's like, yeah, you can intend for things. And I still think, you know, affirmations and intentions are powerful. And I still actually have come back to realizing there is power there in, you know, setting intentions and setting preferences and things that you want to experience. But then to sort of allow them to unfold, there has to be an element of truly accepting the present moment and the present, and accepting people as they are. And it's kind of like a paradox, but it just works all the time to bring in joy and to actually even shift people. And I think it's because you're dropping that element of control, or, you know, I'll be happy if they change. You set the intention, but then you've decided, I'm gonna just love and embrace that soul anyway, or I'm going to love and embrace this situation anyways, and trusting it to unfold in the way that it's meant to unfold. It's kind of like a surrender, but it's a different way of getting into it. It's embracing the now is a much easier way of getting into surrender than to just be like, oh, forget it. You know, I always find that really funny when people are just like, oh, just surrender, just forget it, just drop it, because, you know, it's almost like what we resist persists. Like, the more you try, the harder it gets. And yeah, but, you know, it's this control and trying to control really creates like a resistance to what you desire. And the times I've had my most success with manifesting has been when I have just been in a completely joyful state, and I've just had a vision, and I've just enjoyed the vision for what it is. And I've not been trying to even do it as a manifestation. I've just actually been going into my head and visualizing something and going into that state and feeling the joy as a moment in the now without actually trying to make it happen. And it's like those ones have happened instantly. And I've done it with career. I've had things where I've just like decided to paint for my own self for fun, and I just painting, and then literally somebody will buy it instantly. And then whenever I you know, oh, I'm gonna sell all my artwork, and you know, I'm intending, and then I'm painting things, like it just never sells, no one's interested, it's like no one even likes it. And it's that energy of, yeah, I've set these intentions, but then I'm just gonna enjoy the moment, I'm just gonna enjoy the presence, and I'm gonna have the more we can move into that no preference zone, because no preference is knowing that we've intended to experience our highest joy. We know we're going to experience in it, and we have no preference as to how that unfolds. Because sometimes in life, things can seemingly go the total opposite way to the way you want them to go, but they're still leading you to where your highest joy is. For example, you might really want to marry your person, and that might involve breaking up and something happening in that period, and you both evolving. Because I really believe that guidance doesn't necessarily bring you everything you want instantly. So if you set an intention, I want to be with my twin flame, I want the highest level soul connection, I want to be in a loving, committed relationship, then you're going to be guided to that. But that's not always that they're going to just knock on your door and be like, hi. It's going to guide you there to release the emotions and the blocks that you have to that thing. So if I'm like, I want to be in a loving, committed soul connection, then, you know, the universe is going to present to me options for me to grow and remove the blocks that I have to having that right now, which is why sometimes you follow your guidance and you're like, but I followed my guidance and they just rejected me. But that rejection is helping to unblock you, and it's taking you closer to the thing that it is that you want and that you set the intention for. So having no preference and no reaction to the rejection, like when you get to that place, that's when you don't have to be rejected anymore, because you've healed that wound, you've cleared that block, and it's allowing what you want to come in without that resistance. So the no preference and the accepting people and situations for what they are is really like that key, because it just shows that you've released the resistance and the blocks to the joy that you want to experience and the things that you want to manifest. So I really am and I know this is a process. I know it's not something you can do overnight, but something I think that's really amazing to work on is when you've set some intentions and you wrote down some things that you want, or you visualize, you've done whatever, is then to really look at that situation or that person and just really, really love it and accept it. Accept the journey, know that you're choosing to experience that right now, that on some deeper level you're wanting to experience that right now. You might not consciously be wanting to experience it, but your soul wants you to experience it so you can move closer to your desire and closer to your joy. So embrace it, accept that have no preference to it either way. And actually when you get into that state, that's when it can transform. And maybe like just start trying it with people that are not kind of like what I did, someone I worked with, because it wasn't really a huge trigger for me. Like obviously romantic connections can be bigger at certain stages of the journey. So start with people that maybe, you know, aren't quite as triggering and just have little annoyances, and start to embrace and love them exactly as they are. You can still intend for them to change. Say for example you want someone to become a vegan, you can be like, I intend for them to become a vegan, or wouldn't it be amazing if they were a vegan? But then you just accept them as they are, and you say, but I love you, and you know, I love you exactly as you are, I love you whatever you eat, and it's fine. I have no preference whether you're vegan or not. And when that trigger goes, you might be surprised at how people, I mean, that was probably, you know, emotional examples are probably better, but you can be surprised how people can just flip, or it just doesn't bother you anymore anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, this is such a powerful transformational tool, and it diffuses and diminishes that like control and that trying to control. And when that energy is felt like that, I'm trying to control, that's like a repellent. And then that like love and acceptance and kind of embracing people, that's like the magnet. And it's really hard to do when you're triggered and you're in the moment, you know, but, you know, do it afterwards. You can still go, you know, if you can't catch yourself in the moment, you can sit in the bed and you can meditate and you can go within and you can, you know, connect to their soul, and you can do it that way. And that's the same with yourself as well. So if you get triggered, you can look at the wound that's come up, and you know, I've been having a lot of success with that, where you say, okay, well, I feel abandoned, and you just go in and you just, you know, I'm never going to abandon you, and you give love to yourself, and you tell yourself, because when somebody abandons you and you have a trigger or a breakdown, it's not because they've abandoned you. Well, it's because it's that childhood wound of feeling like you abandoned yourself, and you've been abandoned, and only you can really not abandon yourself. And you just go in and you remind your inner self that, you know, you're always there for yourself. And that's actually super transformative. These two things are super transformative. They have like really taken me up another level. So yeah, I hope this video is useful. I've renamed the channel Lunity actually, because I have started doing, I think for a long time I had so many hams and so many pies. Is that what they say? Is that the phrase? And so I had so many different things that I was doing, and I just couldn't tie them all in, and I was spreading myself so thin, like nothing was happening. Or and Lunity is an umbrella, and it's a way for me to do all the things that I think are important in our awakening journey. You know, health of mind, body, and spirit, because I think sometimes we underestimate certain areas of it. For me, I believe diet has been a huge part of my awakening, and cleaning my diet and eating a high raw diet and eating no processed foods has been huge. I would never underestimate the power that eating a certain way has had on my spiritual awakening. And I really believe that awakening is sort of a multi-tier thing to come at, from diet to emotional healing, and then the true spiritual journey of, you know, embodying and aligning and being and presence. And I just think there's so I've for years tried to narrow it down to one thing that works, and I think I've got to the point where I can see that there's many things that work at different times, and yeah, it's all to get to the same place, but you know, there's lots of little things that we can dip into, and it's ultimately about listening to ourselves and aligning with ourselves and connecting to what we need in each moment, because that might actually be for some growth. We might be drawn into something that doesn't seem that enlightened because we need to get some growth from it. And I think we should always listen to our intuition. And so yeah, Lunity it started out as a shop and me selling my artwork and crystals and like love boxes and gifts. And then I started adding events. So this video is going to be super long now, but it's a bit of a catch up. So I've always wanted to run and host spiritual events and one day have a retreat, and I've kind of like dipped into it, and then I've like gone out of it, and I've just been like, I don't know how I can ever make this happen without, you know. And I think the lockdown period for me was just a bit of a kick up the arse, because to just get going and to overcome those fears of getting started. So myself, and I've found other people as well that are like highly skilled and really awesome. I think tomorrow night we've got like facial yoga and acupressure. And it's just, yeah, a channel with lots of different events. At the moment, they're all free. And they're all just different aspects that I think are useful tools on the awakening journey. From shadow work just to exploring your inner child, and painting and being creative, and making healthy food and recipes. So I am going to share those things on this channel as well. It's going to become an umbrella channel, and it's going to share, yeah, all those elements that I think, you know, are useful to our journeys in cleaning our vibration and our emotions and our everything to evolve and go higher. So yeah, like I'm going to drop the link below, and feel free to check it out, and you can see some of the free events that we've got going on this week, and if any of them resonate, then, you know, just pop along. And yeah, I hope everybody is really well, and yeah.